Hey there, welcome to the interview experience show of IHHPET IndustriesHelpingHands.com. Today we have with us our special guest Vamsi Vrishang, who is currently placed in the multinational fintech company PayPal as a software developer. So today in this video, we are going to cover his journey, how he prepared for the interviews, how he faced the technical round, what questions were asked in the HR round. Everything will be covered in this video from his starting to being placed journey. So in this video, we are going to cover all these topics in a very detail. So if you guys are also preparing for the on-campus or off-campus placement drive for the multinational companies or for the startup companies, then this video is absolutely for you. If you are also juggling with lots of questions, how to prepare, when to start the preparation, then you guys must have to watch the video. So please watch the video till end. Journey of success begins with a single step. So for providing you the right direction and right approach for your placement preparation, IHHPET brings you the placement preparation courses and placement preparation workshops. So if you guys are also interested in it, you can fill the form that we have already provided to you in the below description box. Apart from this, we are also allied with so many companies that are already listed on our website. And we also conduct the pre-placement talks in which the HR of the companies directly come on our platform and have the communication with you guys so that you can shape your skills according to the company profile. So you can also visit the company profile, see the job description and apply for those jobs and never miss the opportunity of being placed. So if you want to do regular updates on it, you can join our YouTube channel as well as you can also join our WhatsApp and Telegram group, and the link is there in the below description box. So stay tuned, stay updated. You guys know where to follow us. So you can subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates. So what we are waiting for? Let's start the video. So welcome to the interview preparation series of IHHPET, and today we have with us Vrishang from National Institute of Technology, and we are very glad, Vrishang, that today you are here with us for experiencing and sharing about your experience of the interview. And for our YouTube community, I would like to inform you guys that Vrishang is currently being placed in one of the toughest interview. I think I would like to say that he has cracked and appeared in the interview of the multinational company PayPal, and today we have with us sharing about the experiences Vrishang. So thank you so much, Vrishang, for joining us today.
Thank you as well for inviting me. So my name is Vamsi Vrishang. I'm a recent college graduate from NIT Trichy, and my majors is in material science and metallurgical engineering, and I'm currently working as a software development engineer at PayPal. So I really hope that my views and my preparation strategy will help you out, guys, and will motivate you to push further in your dreams and in your goals.
Absolutely, and the main purpose of conducting this interview is that so that more and more students who are currently started their preparation strategy and having so much of confusions how to start, so that they can get inspiration from you and they can just begin their journey. So Prashant, as we know that success is just a journey, not a particular destination. So we would like to know about more your journey. So could you please begin with us about telling more about your schooling, academics? We would like to know more about your journey. So please, if you give a better brief about your journey.
Yeah, sure. So it's not like I've always been the brightest kid in the school. I've always been the kind who would like goof around, have fun, play games and all that stuff. So if I have to talk about my schooling, that is, of course, from 9, 10, 10, we all start hearing about IIT JEEs. Most of the people these days are taking 5-year and 7-year classroom programs in one of the great institutes which prepare us for IIT JEE. It wasn't the case for me. In 9, 10, 10, I was just a normal guy. So my father is actually a teacher. So what he does is that he teaches chemistry to all the IIT JEE aspirants. Okay. So since my childhood, I've grown to see him teaching students, and it got imprinted in my mind that I have to do IIT JEE. Now I also want to become one of the people he teaches, who become one of the great people. So 9th and 10th, I just used to chill out. Then in 11th and 12th, I actually joined the coaching and started preparing and well mannered. So discipline and consistency was one of the key factors which had driven me through all this time. So that was my schooling thing and all, and the
Oh,
coaching. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. That's really very good thing that from the beginning you have the inspiration to crack one of the toughest examination IIT also. So even in our interview series, Vishant, we have received a lot of queries about people asking, please ask their 10th and 12th percentage. So I would like
yeah.
to know from your side, like how was your journey and what was your 10th and 12th percentage? Because in some of the companies, when the college students appear for the interviews where 10th and 12th percentage is like a criteria, they have to fulfill that. So I would like to know about your side, like how was your 10th and 12th and what was your percentage on it?
Okay. So back then we used to have the CGPA system. I don't know if it is there right now or not. So I got a 10 on 10 CGPA in my 10th, and in my 11th I got a percentage of 93%. So yeah,
Okay, that means from the beginning itself, we have a guy who is a topper who has got full CGPA on class 10th and 12th. That's really amazing. So, Rishank,
sure.
what fascinates you more towards like engineering, right? Apart from the things wo bahut hai. So, what fascinates you towards to go for the engineering and pursue your higher studies from one of the best institute in IT?
So it wasn't that I had this in my mind since the beginning, but ऐसा होता था that I wanted to become I always used to tell my parents that I wanted to become a scientist. I had no idea how to become one. I just wanted to. I was like, okay, I have interest in science, so why not, pursue it? And then there were two fields in the science which were there in my time. Of course, it's still there right now. It's medical and the math side. And my father, even my grandfather right now, uh, like they were one of the greatest minds. Like even today, when we play chess together, it's always my grandpa who wins, and then my dad. So I can never beat them. So since then, I've been, doing, since my childhood, I've been doing maths and all those solving problems. So I had a good interest in maths and physics. And my dad was a chemistry lecturer, of course. So he used to always, bug me and sit me around. "Ki, okay, you sit with these people. You're doing nothing. You're just playing with your Hot Wheels. Just sit there and, listen to some classes." So that's how I learned things. And slowly it became a part of my life, and that's when I chose in my 11th. So I had to choose. It was a very big decision to choose maths because there are a lot of people competing. There are like 20 lakh people competing for just like 10,000 seats. Like, okay, 10,000 for IIT and 10,000 for NITs. Matlab, IITs and NITs. Okay, so 20,000 seats were there. So it was a really tough call on my end, but my dad motivated me to that you can do it, and you should just proceed with it. So
Okay, so
that's how it
that
happened.
means a continuous push from the childhood definitely opens the door to have the studies from one of the best institutions. So, Prashant, like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, absolutely. So, Prashant, like in this journey of your 4 years in the engineering, when you have started doing your BTech in the metallurgy field, I think, right? So, I think
Yeah.
metallurgy you have opted. Okay. So, Prashant, basically, when you have started preparing for what was your preparation strategy? We would come to this point step by step. But firstly, I would like to know that within this 4 years journey of your BTech, have you ever done any kind of internships like in your BTech journey? Have you ever done your internships and we would like to know about it?
Yeah, so my first internship was back in like my second year, and that was during my winter. So I did my internship in a firm called as Motherson Sumi Infotech. So it's a company which designs nuts and bolts for one of the big manufacturers in the big leading car companies in the world like BMW, Volkswagen, and all those. Okay. So my role as so I'm from a non-co background. Okay, I didn't have a CSC knowledge back then, but I always had this interest, aligning with me that okay, in computational techniques, in statistics, in probability. So when I came across coding and how it made all these implementations much more easier in a very general life scenarios, I approached them and asked them that could be, if I could, intern in that company as a data analyst or as a, as a business analyst. So that's when they welcomed me, and I was assigned a mentor back then. So they taught me the whole, pipeline and the whole cycle of how machine learning and all those things work. And that's when I started developing a much more interest, because I didn't know anything back then. I just went there. I was like blank. I didn't know anything. I didn't know Python. I didn't know anything. So they taught me everything from scratch, and I'm really glad that I went there, and my journey began from there only.
Okay. So my next question is that, Prashant, many of the students take their branch, some of may opt core branches, as you have also opted core branches, and then might, after some years, their interest got shifted towards the CS and IT, right? You are also from the metallurgy, and then after you have decided that, yeah. So then after you have decided that, Prashant, that you want to go for the CS field, computer and science, and about the IT fields.
Just hold on, my internet got disconnected.
Sure, sure, no problem at all.
Yeah, can you repeat the same thing again?
Yes, yes, sure. So many of the students, they have opted the branch, like some of may opt the core branches, electrical, civil, mechanical, or metallurgy. And after some years, they have realized and they got shifted towards and attracted more towards the companies that are software oriented, right? So
Yeah.
in your journey also, as we have come to know that you are from the metallurgy field, and then after you have done your internship, and then your interest might get shifted more towards the CS things. So how you have decided to take a decision that you have to go towards to the CSV, to the software industry as compared to the core things. So how you have decided?
Okay, so firstly, it's a very tough decision, leaving your branch out and going for something altogether which you have complete uncertainty about. But somewhere in my mind, I knew that this is something that I can do, and this is something that I want to do. It was not about if I can do it or not. It was something that I want to do, and that had driven me more towards, learning the CS as a subject. And I would suggest the same for everyone, that you should not go after the, what you hear, that we have this notion that software engineers are paid more, and core engineers are not paid more. It's not the case. Actually, the opportunities are vast everywhere, and it is really, because many of my friends from metallurgy are in a good place right now. Some of them are in Stanford, San Diego, and they're in a really good place because they pursue what they like, and they're excelling at it. So I would suggest that people should go after things that they want to do in life, rather than going for things that bring them fame and money. So that's how I would suggest. And personally, for me, as I told, that I had a really good interest in statistics and maths and computational things. So my interest got slowly shifted to computer science. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. So, few takeaways, guys, for you from this conversation is that you have to follow your interest so that you can excel on your career. So, it's really very amazing thing that you have followed your passion, Rishant. So, Rishant,
Yeah.
it's a journey of 4 years in BTech, right? So, at what semester or at which duration you have decided that yes, you have to shift towards the CS things, for the software industry and start your interview preparations or campus placement preparations. So when you have decided this, when you are in your engineering phase, so that our audience could also come to know that at which point of time they have to take this tough decision that you have to.
Yeah. So I would always suggest that they should start as early as they can.
Would like to know more about, you have taken us the opportunity to share your experience with us. So we would like to know that you have really taken a decision in which you have decided that in your engineering phase, you have to go towards the CS and IT things like the software industry, which attracts you more apart from the metallurgical things that you are already pursuing on your core brand. So that's the decision that you have to. So we would like to know that in your engineering journey, like at which time phase you have decided or at which semester you have decided these things that you have to opt for the CS and IT things and start your journey from there. So could you please tell us about it?
Yeah, so as I mentioned that my internship was the step one towards my journey, and so that was back in my at the end of the second year. And as you know that from the start of the third year, we have our internship companies coming, which provide us internships. And being in metallurgy, a lot of good companies, like the ones which open for CS, didn't open for us. And it was in the summers of those that second year. At the end of second year, I started preparing for DSL course and CAC course subjects. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to crack any of those interviews which came for my internship, and so it was a big disappointment from my end that even after preparing a lot, I was not able to crack it up. So my parents and my friends cheered me up that failure is just a part, and we can always try on. We can always apply for off campus. So I kept trying and applying off campus here and there, and finally I got an internship at one of the US firms. But we decided not to go for it because it was also back then that we had to get back to our houses. Like it was in the March of March 16th of 2020 that we all had to get back to our houses. So we were not able to do that internship. So what we decided instead was, hey, so we have time of 2 months, the 2 months of the internship and also the 4 5 months. So why not change our preparation strategy and go full on in like 50 years, like at the high speed mode. So that was when we drew out the whole strategic plan and decided that these are the things which we need to follow for at least 6 to 7 months, and then we'll be able to compete with any person in the college. Like it was a full hard-on strategy. So I'd say that those 7 months were the key months which made me realize my dream right now.
Okay, that's absolutely a great decision that you have to get that time, because taking the right decision at the right time is something that is very important, and you have done this thing. So that's really very great thing. So from the fifth semester itself, you have started your preparation, right? Because you are from and the first internship that we were talking about, you have got it on the on campus or off campus, like.
Okay, so the on-campus internships are for third year summer.
Okay.
What I did back then was for second year winter. So second year they're all juniors and no companies and approach us. It's in the third year that we start getting approached by companies. So I had to try personally out different things to get my internship in my second year, and even in third year as well, as you know.
Okay. So, Prashank, basically, like you are from the metallurgy field, as you have told us that you don't have much experiences of the programming languages and about the things that are involved in the computer science and things that other students are working on it, right? Because when you have decided that things, you have to compete with the students that are from this particular backgrounds of CS and IT, and you are totally from a different background. So how to prepare yourself to just not only to compete the other students who are from this particular core engineering things. So what strategy you have opted, how you have started your preparation, because when you have started, how what is the preparation strategy that you have made at that time?
Okay, so as I was telling that those 7 months I prepared, so that preparation was after I had done a lot of few things, like I had to lay a complete foundation, and then I had to prepare those 7 months, because without a foundation, if you're just preparing for 6 and 7 months, it won't be enough. So I had approximately 1 year, 1.5 year in my hand right now, back then, yeah. So from the start of my third year, I neglected lots of things like how I need to prepare and all that. I completely delved into the competitive programming side and learned all the DSA concepts. So there's no website I haven't coded on. Being it lead code, GFG, code forces, code chef, everything. So I have done quite a part of my competitive coding in my third year, and that was the only thing I focused back then because in order for any interviews, anything that you need to know or that you need to crack, it's important that you have a great problem solving ability, and that problem solving ability is not just it's not limited to solving puzzles. It's about solving puzzles in a programmatically way, in a way that makes it easier and makes it programmable for any person that you're explaining it to. So that was the things that we focused on, and along with those competitive programming questions, we tried like I and my friend along with my friend, we tried doing really hard projects. So it was not something that it was not something like that. Okay, we know this language, let's try a project. It was always a top to bottom approach. Okay, we have a project and it can do these things. Now, in order to implement these things, what are the technologies that we need to learn? So that preparation strategy made sure that you're building your projects and you're learning a new tech stack every time you're doing some different project. So that was my strategy in my third year.
Okay, Vishal. So basically, it's a kind of reverse engineering approach that you have. Okay. That you have opted the reverse engineering approach. Firstly, choosing the project, then deciding what are the things that you require to complete that project. So, Rishabh, as we are talking about the project, I would like to know that, like in your engineering project, is something that is very important, right? So, what was your project? How this project helped you in cracking the interviews like this?
Okay. So I would say that you should do as many projects as you can, and those projects should really implement a lot of different type of technologies bundled together into a single tech. So suppose we're building so I tried building an application for I built a service based application. It was during my COVID times. It was during the COVID times that I built it. So it was like a app that assembles all the blue collared workers, and it would give them it would give a consumer, the client, kind of sanitary services like home sanitization and different type of delivery options and all those things. So I tried to integrate all those things into a single app, and for that I had to use backend. I had to learn front end. So in backend I tried using automated Google Firebase. Then I tried using Node. Then I tried using different databases, NoSQL, MongoDBs, and all those things. So what I want to say was that all these things really helped me understand how each things are implemented in a very general notion, like on a very basic level. So it's not about the complexity of the project. It's about the simplicity and how you're making it simple by implementing different things. So always focus on that.
Okay. So basically, Prashant would like to know that, like, what are the languages, like when any newbody will start their preparation, right? So first thing is that what are the languages they are going to learn, right? So what would you suggest to the candidates who are preparing for it and belongs to some different fields or from the CS field even itself? How they have to opt the languages, and what are the languages that you have started learning with? So we'd like to know about it.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, but I prefer C++ as my primary language preferred C++ as my primary language for DS Algo question. But there are a lot of people who also prefer Java, so I would not suggest that this is better or that is better. You should always choose a language of your choice, but it's always good to learn either C++ or Java. So at least you have a good knowledge of how object-oriented programming also works, because that's one of the key things that you're going to be using in any kind of MNC you work or any kind of company you work. Like the whole design implementation is completely object-oriented, so you should always learn those primary languages before you get into any kind of higher language, high-level language like Python or Kotlin or anything
Okay,
or JavaScript.
that means
Yeah.
we should not have to rush towards the fancy languages, right?
No.
But for that, we have to clear our basics first. The primary languages, we have a better command on it. Okay, Prashant.
Yeah.
So,
That's it.
Prashant, like as you have told me that you have started your preparation within the 7 months, right? So basically, like people, like I would like to know that currently you are in people, but would like to know that in how many companies you are placed from your college campus. So, how many companies in which you
Okay.
have placed? Yeah.
Okay. So our college has a rule that after you're placed in one company, you cannot sit for any other placement. Okay. So when people came to my college, and that was the first company I got shortlisted for, and at the same time I got selected. So I didn't try any further because, of course, PayPal is a dream company, and it is one of the leading it's a leading entity in its whole complete domain. So there's no company that can beat PayPal. I mean, of course, I'm praising my own company, but yeah, that is the truth. So I didn't try any further for any other companies, and I was quite happy with what I have achieved. And I decided that after getting placed, I'll just chill around and have fun because that's what people want to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing that you have opted, and that's the first company in which you have appeared, and you have got placed on your first company. So that's really very amazing thing, and congratulations to you on behalf of IHHPET. So basically, in the first company you have appeared and you have placed on it, that's really very good thing. So we'd like to know more about your interview experiences. We are doing this series, like how many rounds you have faced in this, like paper interviews. We'd like to know more about it, about your interview experience, Prashant.
Okay. So I don't remember the exact questions they asked because it's already been a year. But what I remember that we had 3 rounds, and the 3 rounds were really extensive. Like they used all their skill to take bring out the best in me, and I was able to give out my best. So the first round was a DS Algo round, and it was a round where I was asked 2 or 3 questions from medium to hard difficulty, and those questions were generally based on like normal problem solving, string, DP, and all those recursion type questions. So those were the questions that I did, and so the interview actually depends upon how your interview takes. So he asked me to write down my logic of the pseudocode, as I have to say, on a notepad, and then we were sharing screens so he could see my logic. And it's also important that while you are discussing your logic or implementing whatever you have thought about, that you are discussing it with the interviewer. So suppose you are saying that, okay, fine, right now I'm implementing a 2D matrix. Right now I'm trying a binary search on this array so that my time complexity gets reduced. So while you are coding that, while you are typing that thing, you also have, you have to talk it out to the interviewer, and also make sure that you are very clear about the question you ask, because it's not something like a question that it's written on the paper and then you can read it again and again. He'll say it once or twice, and then you have to keep asking him different doubts. Okay, sir, what are the limitations and what are the constraints, and what language should I use? So he would say, prefer your language. So you are good to go with your own language. But if it's something which he demands, then you should go for that language of choice. Otherwise, you should be very clear, because you should always be clear that what you know and what you don't. So if you don't know anything, you should be confident that, so you should be clear with that. Sir, this is the thing that I don't know, but is it okay if I implement this thing in this? So you should give an approach that also makes interview think, okay, fine, then go with this kind. So that was my first round. Now the second round was also a DS Algo round, and along with those DS Algo questions, there were questions based on my project, and the project, as I have to say that. In projects, they asked me that, okay, fine, you implemented all these things. Now, what do you think from your end you could have done to improve those projects so that these projects could be scaled on a, production line? So there could be many issues, load balancing issues, there could be traffic issues. My app would crash with lots of traffic. My app would not be able to keep up with we're adding new features. So since I implemented Python in one of the apps, and Flask. So it was, the Flask has scalability issues. So they asked me questions which were beyond my project, but concerning my project. So you should have an exterior scope of your knowledge that you have implemented this project. You should not only focus deeply on that project, in fact, all those loose things around it, and the things which could be coupled around those loose things to make that thing stronger. So that was my second round. Now the third round was actually a good round. So it was taken by one of the directors of software engineering at PayPal, and he was a really good guy. He was like, "Okay, Vamsi, now drop your pen and assume that we are in a train and we are talking. So let's talk." So me and that person, we talked out like for around 50 to 55 minutes, and he came to know about my mindset and how I work in a company, and how being from a non-core background, from non-CSC background, how will I able to compete? So these were the questions he asked me to make sure that I have a clarity in my mind, because that's the thing I told you right about. You should have a complete clarity of what you are doing, and in those situations where you are not prepared at all, those are what you say are the true things that come out of your mind. So that's what they see in you as a candidate, that you can answer those things immediately. So they try to ask different questions along different lines, so that you don't
Okay,
stand out.
that means you have to be spontaneous in the interview, right? So I would like to know
No,
that.
it's not about spontaneity. It's about clarity.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
take your time, but it should be clear. Yeah.
Exactly. So basically, Vishang would like to know about your answers also. That when the interview has asked you, one of the directors of the paper has asked you, like, why you have opted CS in terms of the, like, you have different options. So what you have answered that impressed the interview, so that you have got hired. I'd like to know your opinions also.
What was it? Okay, so I don't remember exactly what he asked, but I kind of remember that it was like, okay, so you might be knowing that in PayPal there are lots of people who will be coming from different colleges and they'll be from CSC, and how will you, from a metallurgy background, know that you can beat them? But it's not. It's always a healthy competition. It's not like you should be competent enough, to think a lot of things in your mind. It's always a healthy competition that you and I, if we are both competing, we both need to talk it out. Like, you're teaching me things, I'm teaching you things, and then we're both learning on a different scale, and that learning curve is also improving, because it's always with support. It's always the support and motivation that each other give, that we can grow. So I told that I'm quite confident in my skills, and I have put my 1.5 years in this thing. Not 1.5 years, actually, more than 2 years. So I had this whole thing in my mind that I have to do. I'll tell you a good story. So my friend and I were in a mess. Okay, we were in a mess. We were going, and then we saw a guy wearing a headphone. It was a Sony. It was a good Sony headphone. So back then, we were not provided so much good amenities by our parents that you can get a 10,000 rupees headphone and all for just for listening sake. So as I saw that thing, he was wearing a good Sony wala headphone, and there was a PayPal logo on it. So I intrigued and asked him a question, "Hey, how do you have this PayPal wala thing on your headphone?" So he was like, "Okay, so PayPal came to my camp." He was like, "PayPal came to our campus, and then I got selected. Then they gave me this goodies, my T-shirt and all that." So I was like, "Oh my God, the company gives you so many good things." So that was my first ever interaction with how PayPal as a company takes care of its employees. A person who hasn't even joined the company, it's already taking care of that employee. So I was like, okay, so even for headphones, let's try to PayPal.
Okay, that means the inspiration came from the human headphone also, right? So that we can
Yeah,
start, so that you can start your, like, everyone has a dream vision, right? Like how to live your dreams, right? So it's better to have a start early, as we have started early. so that you can compete with other things, because the only thing that you will get after it is the competition, right? And you will just face the
Yeah.
competition and everything. So Rashad would like to know that people is the first company where you have appeared for the interview. So we'd like to know more about your technical questions, because many times the candidates are more hesitated or not confident much about the technical questions, right? So I would like to know more about in detail about the technical questions what they have asked you in the interviews, so that the viewers that are watching to us will have a better idea about it.
I'm sorry to say that, but I don't remember those technical questions. Like my interview was back in August 2020, August to September. So it's already been more than a year. I don't remember those questions. Yeah.
Okay, so from your point of view, we would like to know that for the students that are currently preparing for such companies, how they have to start their preparation for the technical things. What are your opinions for them?
Okay, what I would suggest is that before going into all those CSE core subjects like OS, networking, DBN and all, they should primarily focus on problem solving. That is a DSL goes. So I would suggest that they solve as many questions. And the questions is I don't mean questions. I don't mean different same type of questions. Lots of questions. What I mean is that they have to cover a variety of concepts by solving limited amount of questions. So it's like you can only solve 400 questions, but those 400 questions may cover all type of concepts or all type of questions that you can have. So it's better than solving 2000 questions and spending your time on same type of questions again and again. So that is the one thing I'd suggest, that go to Geeks for Geeks, write down all those different concepts that you have and try to solve at least 2 to 3 questions in each subsection of a certain topic. Okay, so there's this notion that dynamic programming is hard. Okay, now I would say that dynamic programming is the easiest thing, because there are only 50 to 55 standard questions, and along with those variations that an interviewer can ask you. So those 50 to 55 questions are the questions that you need to focus on if you want to know the complete dynamic programming, because those are the base questions, and all the questions which a person can ask you are the derivation from those base questions with a little bit of 2 to 3 lines of change in code. So this is one of the examples I gave you. Similarly, you can go for any other kind of example as well, like for divide and conquer, for greedy approach, or for any kind of approach. Yeah.
Okay, so that was all about your technicalities that you have faced in the interviews. And what about we would like to know, because many of the students, right, like in the HR rounds, they have faced some problems in the communication, or they hesitated from the interview. So how was your third round, that is the HR round? So how was your experience? What kind of questions such type of companies are asking? We would like to know more about it, Prashant.
Communication is really important, because communication is the only key factor that that lets the other person know what you're capable of. So even there might be a guy who might know more than me, but if he's not able to communicate enough, then you on the other end sitting there, evaluating my skills and my abilities, won't be able to get the true sense of those abilities. And later on, when we're not getting selected, we try to blame it on ourselves that I prepared so much, I put so much hard work into it, but I was not able to get selected. That's not because you lack skills. That's only because you are not able to communicate how much extent or how much depth of the knowledge you have to the other person who is evaluating you in front of you. So you and I are strangers. We don't know anything about each other. So even before all this talking happens, there is this resume which is considered before your interview goes on. So your resume is just a paper. So your resume is the one thing that's gonna tell you everything about yourself to the interviewer. So it's important that how you present your resume, how you present yourselves as well before the interview and even during the interview. So
Exactly.
communication is one of the important thing. Yeah.
So one of the key questions that arises from here is because many of the students right now are in the either fourth semester or fifth semester. So this is the peak time, right? When you just come to know about the word resume and you have to start making the resume. So what are your advice for the newbies who are going to come in the software industry? How to start the preparation you have told us about the resume, like what are the things that are important to mention in the resume, how they start with these things. So what are your advices for them?
So it's important that you mention your career objective. Like, okay, so every college has a certain set of standardized resume format. Okay, if you're going beyond that standardized format, if you're applying for off-campus or anything, then it's always important to have a career objective section. So it can be a section of about me, a section of career objective, and then later comes your experience part. Now in that experience part, it's really important that you don't jot out the whole story of the internship in those, big lines. It's always important to keep the content crisp and also in a manner which tells that, okay, fine, this guy has worked on these things. So it should be intriguing that he should be reading those 2 lines and he should be like asking, okay, so what you wrote in these 2 lines seems interesting. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah. So basically, basically one thing that arises here is because many of the students don't have proper idea, right? Like how to highlight their achievements and everything on the proper resume, right? So basically, thank you so much for like providing us the information about these points on the resume. So Prashant would like to know that like how much time like a candidate should have to required when they are preparing for such interviews. Like you have told us that you have properly given your proper time. So what do you think, how much time a candidate is required to prepare for such kind of interviews so that they can crack in one go?
So I myself am a slow learner, so it took me a lot of time, but it actually depends on person to person. A person can prepare in 5 months, a person can prepare in 1 year. So the only thing that any person needs to focus on, okay, I'm not talking about the genius kids which can, do the whole syllabus in one night. I'm talking about those things I'm talking about those people which are who are willing to, put the hard work and are motivated enough to crack this. So I would say that at least a year on an average, 1 year before your company start coming, you should be completely focus driven on your things. Like in those 7 months which I told you about, I used to prepare at least 7 to 8 hours a day continuously in front of the laptop to do all those things, to cover up everything that an interviewer could ask me in the interview. But if you have a 1 year at least, then it would be easier. But if you have 6 months also, then you just need to increase your sitting time, and you need to giving it more and more every day. And once you get the gist of it, once you get the hang of it, it's really simple. Everything goes so smoothly. It's always the start that takes the time, and once you have started and once you've gotten the hang of it, everything really goes smoothly. So you should make sure that your foundation is absolutely strong. So that foundation right I'm talking about is those problem solving abilities, thinking, or writing your logic in a code. So you're thinking something on pen and paper, and if you're able to write that in code, it means you're good to go. It means you have that skill to go further, because learning never stops. That's the one thing. Even right now in the company, I'm learning every day. So learning never stops. What you need to do is you have to have that strong foundation. So take your time building that foundation, and later on, it's a smooth ride.
Okay, Vrishak. So, Vrishak, one of the things that like you are preparing for another stream, and currently, like when you are preparing, you also have to face the engineering semester and semester examinations also, right? So, how to make a perfect balance between the branch in which currently we are like studying and for the goals for which we are preparing? How to make a proper balance of it, Vrishak, and how you manage these things? It's a one night fight for the engineering papers, or like you have devoted your time?
Yeah, so it's definitely a 1 or 2 night fight.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's actually a little bit harder because you have to focus on two things at once. It's like you're preparing for two branches being in the same branch. So definitely you have to spend your amount of time. But my branch personally, metallurgy, it was a branch which you could go to a topper, ask his notebook, and scan it, and read it on your laptop for the whole night and try to mug up all those
Mug up the
things,
concepts. Okay, okay.
spill it on the paper, and then done with it.
Okay, that means the main principal goal is to crack the interview of the company like a paper, and as a metallurgy engineer, you would have to like prepare for the examinations also. So yeah, that's the most important thing is to make a proper time balance, right? Because yes, you are in
Yeah,
one branch and you are preparing and understanding the concepts of the other branches also, like for the CS if you are preparing. So we were like the most important thing is the time management that you have done. So that's really very amazing thing. So Prashant would like to know that like after like people is your on-campus placement interview and the first company you have like placed and you have appeared in the first company and you have placed on it. And after that, have you ever tried for some other companies like for the off-campus placement rights? Have you ever appeared for some other companies also in the off-campus placement?
no, I actually didn't feel the need to apply for any other companies because I got what I wanted, and it's always important to take a break in your life and enjoy those good moments. So back then when I was in college, I'm from Gwalior, okay. So I'm from Gwalior. I had to go to Tamil Nadu. Now that's a distance of almost 2 days of traveling, and which cannot be covered for small occasions like Diwali, Dashera, or any kind of thing like Raksha. So I always, I never got time to go to my home, enjoy those good days and things with my family. So there were times when it had almost been like 1.5 year, 2 years. I hadn't been home. I hadn't seen my parents. So after I got placed, my mind was at peace, and it was a good company. It is a good company, and I was content with it. I was really happy with it. So I decided that I need to take my break and have fun, have those things. So I'd also suggest the students who are preparing that while they're preparing as well, never to burn yourself out. It's always important to take breaks, have fun, friendship. Have good friends, hang out with them. Do anything they want, but also have a discipline. So it's like if you are studying for 7 to 8 hours, you enjoy for 3 to 4 hours. It's fine. The
Okay,
day is for yourself. Yeah,
okay, so one of the secret that we have right from this communication from the topper is that like we have to make a proper balance, right? Like if we are
yeah,
preparing because many times we get exhausted by doing such kind of hard works for the so how you deal like so these things will really be helpful for you when you pursue your hobbies or things that will give you a mental relaxation. So Prashant, like one of the key takeaways from our conversation is that like in many of the colleges, like as you have told us also, like you have if you are appeared for one interview and you get placed, then you will not got the opportunity to sit for the next interview, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so would like to inform you that like in our platform also, like in the industry helping hands professional days, that is IHHPET, we provide the opportunities for such students like if they miss their college opportunity, right? If they don't have the proper opportunity to get placed on the on-campus things, so where they go, from where they try, right? So for providing the such things, we are conducting the pre-placement talks also in which the HR of the company will have a direct interaction with the candidates who are preparing for it. So that the candidates will also come to know about what are the industry demands so that they can shape their skills according to that. So in the IHS part, we provide the opportunities for such kind of students who have not got any kind of on-campus placement opportunity so that they can come on our platform and get placed on some of the companies, better companies in which they have a better career goals. As you have mentioned that it's very important to relax and have take a break after the hard work. So that's really very good thing. So Rashant would like to know that what is your success mantra? Like in the magazines also we read a lot about the things. So we would like to know from your side like what is your success mantra and what are the things that continuously you do, because continuation is also consistency is very important. So what are the things that you have done in this entire preparation journey? What is your secret of success? We would like to know that.
Okay, so what I did personally was, as you know that I am from a non-food background, so I assumed that I don't know anything. And when you make sure that when you make yourself in a position where you think that you don't know anything, it will be easier for you to ask people who know. So you know it's never good to have overconfidence. It's always good to assume that what you have, that it's always good to understand that there's always a scope of improvement. So who helped me out were my friends and those people in CSE who I used to approach every time. I used to nag them. I used to continuously nag them. Like, hey, tell me this. Hey, tell me this. Hey, how did you do this? Hey, how did you do that? Yeah, I didn't get selected for my internships, right? So I used to ask them, okay, so how was your experience? What questions did they ask you? So I used to know that it was not at all to compare myself with them. It was always about learning. And when you have that kind of mindset, that when you're going with that kind of mindset, you are free to do anything. And when you're free to do anything, the learning curve is really good because you don't have anything in your mind and you're always learning new things. So you're always taking input. And right now, when I'm telling this, I'm really glad that whatever I took as an input from them, I'm also able to give out. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Okay, Rishan. So, Rishan, what kind of advices you would especially like to share with us, with our viewers and the aspiring candidates who are really willing to like appear for such interviews, tracking it in one go? So, what kind of advices would you like to share with us?
Okay, so tracking it in one go, I don't have a mantra for that because apart from skills and abilities, it's also the luck that matters as well. So I'm thankful to God that I had a good luck that day. But in terms of skills and abilities, the thing that you can work on, I would suggest that you know don't bother too much about it. Just keep preparing, and when you have expectations in your mind, you try to live up to those expectations, and you're not able to give your best. So I would suggest that don't have any expectations. Well, I have expectations from you, but not for the company you're applying for. Like suppose I applied for some company X. Now I'm expecting that that company X might take me in because I heard some news or I heard some that they're hiring. Don't have that because that will only bring you disappointment. So what you can have is that always be confident about yourself. Okay, I know enough things. I know that I can do things. And if I'm not able to get selected for one company, there are lots of other companies which might be good for me. So it's always about what company requires and what you can offer. It's not that you are not good enough for the company or the company didn't take you in. It's always those different requirements which don't match up. So it's okay. It's always fine to not know things because you can learn them any day, anytime. And so that's what I suggest all the viewers that keep focusing on good things, have fun, enjoy your time with your family, make friends, enjoy your college life. College life is definitely it should be something which you should enjoy. And I know these are the times which are tough and no one is going to go to college, but socialize more and have fun, and also
Definitely.
focus on your preparation as well.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Prashant, for sharing your experience and taking out your valuable time. So thank you so much for that and wish you all the very best and all the good luck from our side for your future journey ahead. And thank you so much for giving out your time and thank you for enlightening us with the experiences that you have shared. And might be someday, like through this interview experience, one of the candidates will get any kind of ideas about these things. So thank you so much for sharing out all these experiences. Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. And I really like what you guys are doing, and this initiative is really good. And I hope it helps a lot of people to get placed in one of those dream companies, whichever they want. And every person has their own journey and their own success story. So one day, even I would like to hear one of those stories from those viewers who are watching this, who will be watching this right now. And I wish all the very best to all those people. And I really hope that we all could have a conversation one day about it.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishank. Thank you.
Thank you.